Brave Maker Show is hosted by Tony Gaffestone and Christina Jackson. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, what's up, Brave Makers? It's Tony Gaffestone. It's showtime. We're happy to be here today. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a Caucasian man, and I'm live in Redwood City, California at the Brave Maker headquarters. I'm a writer, director, and actor, and I'm always with my friend, collaborator, and producer of my next film,
That's
Christina
right.
Ray Jackson.
I
Welcome,
love
Christina.
that. Thank you, Tony. Hi, I'm Christina Ray Jackson. My pronouns are he, she, they. I am queer and coming to you from my Dublin studio here in Dublin, California. And I'm a comic book writer, and I'm rocking the cosplay mashup today. This is Suri meets King T'Challa. So here we go. And I'm an actor and a filmmaker and now a producer on Tony's next feature film. And I'm so excited to be here, Tony.
So as always, every week we have a special guest before we bring them on. And this is one of our most extra special guests. We get to have like 3 days worth of festivities with this guest. Real quick, we always encourage you to every single day go after your goals, your creative dreams, whatever they are, one step at a time. We say, how are you braving your way toward your creative goals this week? Christina, what'd you do? What's the one thing you did this week?
We did our first rough through of the play I'm in. I am part of the Peter Pan Foundation, and they're doing their annual benefit concert this May, Wish Upon a Star show, and I am playing Princess Tiana. And I have never done a production of this magnitude. I'm mostly not a theater actor. So this will be exciting. That's how I'm braving my way, and I'm going for it. And there's choreography, Tony. There's a lot of choreography.
I'm so proud of you. Make it happen. This is a reminder. There's
much.
all different avenues. We can write, we can direct, we can act, we can sing, we can do theater. That's huge.
Yeah,
for me, we just launched a Patreon. So Christina and myself, we're trying to create some community. So we're doing like a monthly thing where we get people, actors, writers, directors. We're going to do Zooms every month. And if you want to be a part of it, it's $20 a month. Check it out. We're also going to be doing exclusive podcasts that are only going to be for our Patreon community. So we're doing this for ourselves because we want things to do. And we want to raise money to be able to pay all of our people, like our social media manager and our podcast producer and editor. So we're really excited about that. Patreon.com/Bravemaker. Go check it out. Christina and I are really excited to brave our way in that way. So Christina, let's get to our marquee guest today. Who do we have on the show?
Oh my gosh, we have God's gift, the magnificent, the queen, Miss BeBe Zahara Benet, and producer, award-winning producer, let me add, MARC SMOLOWITZ. So welcome to the show. Hello.
Hello. Christina, that was the right introduction, honey. God's gift. Yes.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. The gift that keeps giving. We're so happy to have you here.
Oh, we are very excited to be here. I'm actually here in San Francisco, like here at, my hotel room with my favorite producer. We're here getting ready to talk to you and then dash on to rehearsal. So we're very excited.
So thank you for squeezing us in. We're excited to be with you. We've been talking about this for the past month, about all the festivities that are going down. So if you're watching us live, it's Wednesday, March 30th. Tomorrow, March 31st in San Francisco, there's going to be a big reception with 2 premiere screenings of the new film called Being BeBe. So let's get to it because well, I'm going to turn to Christina because she always likes to ask a question. We got to go back, okay? So before we get into the juicy
we have to
stuff,
go back. Before we jump into why they are here in San Francisco, let's start with Miss BeBe. We would love to hear your origin story. I'm a big comic book fan, and those are some of my favorite stories. So, Miss BeBe, where were you born and raised? How has your unique journey prepared you for the work you are doing today?
Oh my gosh, where was I born and raised? I was born in West Africa, precisely Cameroon, and I always try to tell people that Africa is a continent and not a country.
Very good.
I like to tell my fellow Americans because when you say it, they're like, "What country is that?" It's all the. But yes, I was born in Cameroon, and I came to this country when I was, oh my gosh, about 21 years ago. I cannot tell my age because I'm still young. Okay, we don't tell the age. Okay, we keep it on the wraps, But I came here about 21 years ago, and I came to to study and go to school. Like, that's what I told my parents, and then once I got here, I figured out that, I could make a really great living wearing heels and makeup. So, the rest is history, right?
And I produced a documentary about that story. So our film actually kind of begins, pretty much with BeBe's origin story. And it's, you've got like, some of the opening scenes right there.
I love this.
Yeah.
So BeBe, you were this iconic winner of the very first RuPaul's Drag Race. So you must have been, you're probably still riding this wave of acclaim. Bring us back to that. This was in 2009, correct? Talked about how the whole thing started. We actually currently have a friend who's on season 14. So it's been on for 14 seasons.
Yeah.
And we're hoping she can make an appearance tomorrow. We're seeing Lady Camden. Lady Camden, we want you to come. We'll see. Come on, lady.
Yes.
So tell us about that experience being on RuPaul's Drag Race the first season.
I mean, it's crazy to see, when I think about it and how long that, the show has been and existing, it's so crazy, right? That it's been, people have caught on to it and it's just this big thing now. But when we started many years ago, we really had no idea of what it would end up being. We were asked to, pack 4 suitcases with whatever we had and take to this place, which felt like a basement back then, very budget, very budget. And then we were just going with, we're just going blind faith and just going with the ride, and we didn't know that it was gonna become this thing, and we just went with blind faith and look at the magic that it's created. But I've always known that the art is it's like just the art of drag. It's very important in pop culture and has a place in pop culture. And I don't feel like when I came to this country back then, I don't think that that's what it was respected as that. But now it's good to see that we are actually making and creating our own names, in pop culture. So
for those who don't really understand the world of drag, tell us a little bit about the art of being a drag queen. What is the life all about? How could you describe that to someone who has no idea what this world is about?
Well, I think it's complex. It's so many different layers, and throughout so many years, I think the art form has evolved. It has changed. It's some for the good and some for not so good. But that comes to the territory, right? But I feel like in the larger sense of things, it's become just so many different layers. And that's why when you get to experience the art form of drag, you see so many different facets of it, so many different versions, so many different expressions, but it's really to me, it's really about self-expression and creating whatever you want to create, being whoever you want to be, and be able to just celebrate however you want to celebrate the artistry. I think a lot of times people want to put it in a certain pocket and this is just what it is, but it's just evolved with times. And that's why a lot of times I say, please don't call me a drag queen. Not that there's anything wrong being called a drag queen, because I know everybody will look at you like, oh, that's a drag queen, but there's power in that. But I've always looked at myself as an artist that happens to, drag, express myself in this form, but when you strip everything down, we are still so many different layers, that make who we are, but yeah.
I'll say just in a very small way, even just seeing on the promo and the press kit and stuff, drag artist, that to me stuck out. Like language is so important, right? And I still feel as if I'm learning so much about all of life and being an ally when it comes to gender equity and sexual orientation and finding the place that the arts have in that. So I really appreciate that response that this is an art form. So I'm wondering if you can talk about, when you think about your art, the stories that maybe have touched people's lives. You've been doing this now since 2009, and I'm sure even before, but now with all of your travels and the singing and stuff, how have you seen your impact? Do you have any stories that come to mind that surface, like, oh my gosh, this person came to me, or this event that I went to, maybe even your family and representing Cameroon? I saw some of the stuff in the trailer. I want to watch the trailer in a minute too. But yeah, anything that you can share about being an artist who's influencing people's lives for good and for change.
If I have to start telling you about the stories or the people I have met and or however my artistry has impacted them, we'll probably just stay here for because like on a daily basis we get I receive emails, I receive tweets, I receive people always wanting to share what that platform or who I am and what I do, how that has affected them, for the better. I mean, there's so many intense stories, especially coming from West Africa, people getting to see me. And that's why, I think that what we do is privileged, us giving us, we never started to be role models, but we end up just being role models. And whatever we do, however we say, however we express ourselves, it's important because someone somewhere sitting there and is impacted by the situation. When I receive stories about thank you for just being true to who you are, thank you for always having integrity, thank you for staying true to culture and bringing culture, because if you think about it, America is full of so many different cultures, and a lot of times just decide to celebrate just one aspect or one certain kind of culture, and that's what we claim to be what it needs to be. Meanwhile, it's built with by immigrants, coming from different parts of the world. So I think being able to do what I do and have people say, hey, listen, thank you for representing culture. Thank you for representing diversity. Thank you for staying true and not trying to be what everybody wants you to be. And that makes me also to stand true to who I am and my identity and where I come from, and celebrate and showcase where I come from. To me, that is the greatest kind of compliment that, I can give, because trust me, showbiz can be crazy. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add that I've had the gift of traveling with BeBe a lot with our film over the last year, and everywhere we go, people come up to BeBe. People are drawn to BeBe. People are excited to be around BeBe. And whether they even having that kind of conscious moment that they realize they're talking and meeting BeBe Zahara Benet, it's almost beside the point. Like, BeBe is just one of those people that creatively attracts other people who are interested in creativity and in expression, and it's infectious. It's been wonderful, especially in this kind of weird, in 2021 being kind of a pandemic opening up year, sort of, being out in community again and being able to interact with people. Our film and BeBe's appearances with it have been extremely moving and really exciting to see how it's connecting with different types of people. And it comes from what you said before about this being about, artistry and creative expression. And being your true authentic self. We're choosing the life of an artist against all odds. Like, those are really the messages of our documentary, Being BeBe, and BeBe's story 15 years kind of embodies that.
I love that. Yes. So I love to talk about the film. Filmmaking can be so challenging and so vulnerable, just from what I saw from the trailer. Share with us the motivation for sharing this story and how the two of you found each other and decided to make the commitment to explore this opportunity and share this story with the world.
Well, that's a wonderful question. So I can just start by saying, so I'm the producer that had the great chance to kind of jump on the last mile of the movie, or maybe the last 5 miles, however you want to our timeline. But this movie is over 15 years. Okay, so a woman named Emily Branham, who's the director of our film, picked up cameras in 2006, 3 years before.
Wow.
Followed BeBe for 15 years. I came on around year 11 of the movie, right? At a certain point when Emily felt she needed to kind of grow the enterprise, work with an accomplished, dare I be simple, queer producer who could bring some real energy to getting the film fully financed and finished. And right at the time that I jumped on, I mean, Emily's amazing. And if she's on a plane right now to come join us in San Francisco, so if she would be here with us. So she sends her love. But when I jumped on was right when BeBe was brought back onto All Stars in 2018, or just around that time. And we were also having a big Kickstarter. So it was just all this kind of wonderful combination of elements that kind of, we just got us on the right path to getting the film finished. And figuring out how to get this thing done and out in the world. BeBe has a life where every year there's a new story element, a new beat, a new thing happening, a new project. So in some ways we had to kind of say, okay, what's the story we want to tell? And then Emily and I and our other people, Jonathan and Batsheva and Diego, and we all opted in for making the big push during the pandemic to finish the film. So the results of what you see are really we finished our film under lockdown. I mean, we did one final set of shoots in Minneapolis in the summer of 2020, right at the time, just after all the George Floyd, madness was unfolding in Minneapolis where BeBe lived. And so it kind of gave us a chance to all reflect on what is the meaning of this story about BeBe and what is we want the public to feel. And I tell this story, which I'm very proud of Emily and myself and BeBe. We had one cinematographer with BeBe and Diego on set helping in Minneapolis, just the three of them, all masked, super safe, COVID safe for the set. Emily is directing from her desk in New York. I'm producing from my desk in San Francisco. We're using Zoom, Google Meet, and FaceTime all in real time. So we can have a multicam kind of communication tool and having a behind the scenes room. And it was like two of the most amazing days, like being under lockdown, like doing this with BeBe, in Minneapolis. So this movie has been a labor of love. It's been a real joy to produce it. So yeah.
That's great. Well, we want to watch the trailer, so we're gonna watch the trailer, and then we're gonna come back and talk. I always like talking to filmmakers and the artists about, you just shared a lot of obstacles you had to overcome, but other things you learned about producing a documentary that those who want to do the same thing could learn from you. So we'll watch the documentary or the trailer and we'll come right back. Here we go.
I'm just a male who can perform the duties which are generally allocated for the female sex.
BeBe Zahara Benet is with us, and she won the first RuPaul's Drag Race.
Je t'ai dit, donc c'est que les Camerounais.
It was just God's gift to the world.
God's gift to us first, then the world.
Yeah.
I traveled many miles away from my family and friends to pursue a dream, and I will not stop until I've reached the end of my journey.
Isn't it so interesting, like how beautiful I looked back then, and then now even like way more beautiful? No, I'm joking.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna see this tomorrow. I cannot wait to see it tomorrow. We're gonna see it in person with you. How exciting! Let's talk about what you learned making a film, making this documentary over 15 years. I mean, what did you learn about yourself, BeBe? What things came out along the way? What were some of the obstacles? Because we've made a film. Filmmaking is freaking hard,
really hard during COVID,
and exhausting, but so worth it. What'd you learn?
Well, what did I learn? Oh my gosh. When I get to watch myself, I'm like, I was so vulnerable. That's one of the things that I'm still even trying to every time I watch it, and I've watched the documentary for like so many times now, but every time I watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so vulnerable, but I didn't know that I was I was so in touch with my humanity, or myself. That was a big thing for me, but I also think that it was very important, because if you're going to tell a story and you're going to tell the story of an artist, not a drag artist, but just an artist and a human being, it's important to show all different facets of who we are, you know, in our highs, our lows, and our emotional connection with people and with ourselves, and going through what we call the human experience. And I feel like it was very important to show that to people, because I think when people know me from Drag Race, they get to see, you know, they always say, oh, the lion queen, the lioness. They always see me so strong and powerful, which I am. But, you know, you need all these different shades of who you are to make who that person is. And so it was interesting to see like how, you know, how I decided to just let myself be without, you know, I get to see that. But then also, I think what it reiterated was also how persistent I am. And like, I've always known that I am, but it was just great to see like how when you have to really believe in your journey and find your purpose and find your gift, and even in the highs and lows, be able to stay steadfast and keep following and pursuing it. And as long as you're breathing and being in this place called the world, you have to keep working and you have to stay ready. So guess what? I always stay ready is what I'm trying to
I love it. Stay ready.
Stay ready, because you just never know, you know. So I mean, and those are the different like sides of me that I, you know, that I'm like, wow, okay, it's good to see that reflection back, you know, and you're not in dollar land with that, you know.
And I've got experience with Mark, and I love, he is a very talented and experienced producer with lots of knowledge. So Mark, so bring in some of the top things that you took away from this.
Well, you know, I do really want to, you know, give kudos to Emily, who's the director of the film, because this was really her life project, right? 15 years, talk about persistence, right? So she just kept on, you know, keeping on with this one. And I think she found really kind of important sort of moments in BeBe's life story to kind of say, well, let's film that. Let's film that. That could be a part of the story. That could be a part of the story. And so you see the arc of our film is sort of a, you know, it has a dramatic, you know, sort of arc to it. It's really quite beautiful and involving, and really a portrait of a full, I mean, nothing like a longitudinal story, right? Of spending 15 years with someone. I mean,
wow.
I probably believe we packed all that into 93 minutes, but it, you know, we created a scaffolding. I mean, that was the epiphany that we had in 2020. I don't want to give too much away, but when you see Being BeBe, the way that it now is told is BeBe sits down with us in Minneapolis, and we pull out an iPad, and BeBe watches clips from the movie. And BeBe saw those clips, many of them, for the very first time on those 2 days that we filmed. So BeBe's really reacting in real time to seeing their life on screen, just like we are. And just something emotional happens. And when we figured out that could be the scaffolding of the story during lockdown, it was like, it just freed us up so much creatively to tell this story in a really interesting way. For me, the surprising thing that I think not a lot of people will expect when they come see our film is the way that we take you back to Cameroon, and you meet the LGBTQIA community there, and you meet some activists there, and you really see, you know, what it's like for people there. And we try to connect those dots between, you know, BeBe's journey here in the US since immigrating here, and how that journey can actually inspire people around the world to have, you know, to find their place of empowerment. I mean, these young people in Cameroon, they're in a very difficult situation. You know, they have very, very limited, you know, civil protections. You know, there's mob justice and violence around them. You know, any kind of different gender expression, just you're targeted. So we meet young people like that. We don't show their faces. We have to blur their faces for safety reasons. So there's a real serious kind of through line to Being BeBe is about so much more than Drag Race. And Drag Race is the book, you know, you maybe know BeBe for that reason, but it's so much more than that. And if you notice, this is my website. I mean, I focus on human stories. I have a real commitment to LGBTQ plus voices. It's not the only thing I do, but this film fits so many priorities that I have had in my 30-year career of, you know, giving face, giving voice to people who we can really, you know, take something from their story. So
I love that. BeBe, you are such a global phenomenon. What would you want to say to all of your fans listening all over the world who are not enjoying the same liberties that you and I enjoy here in the United States in regards to being an artist, gender expression, sexuality? Here in the Bay Area, we're extremely lucky to be able to live and celebrate the way that we do so visibly. What do you want to say to your global fans out there who are not in such a fortunate position?
Well, I mean, what will I want to say? I think that my story, when you watch the movie and my journey says it all. Yes, I do understand that not everybody is as privileged as me. And when I say privilege, I mean being here in America and being able to express myself and be in my art and express my art and show my art and share my art. But there's something about staying steadfast. I always believe that in every darkness there is light. Even in wherever you are, there's always light. And I think we have to stay steadfast and also never lose dreaming, because I feel like dreaming is what keeps us hopeful, is what gives us hope and keeps us moving and keeps us wanting to inspire and be inspired to make a change. You need that dream and the hope when you dream. And I think that wherever anybody is, those two things are very, very important. And I do believe that people get to change. I think people can. I don't feel like, it takes a while, and it will take a while. Look at us in America. But I believe that change can always happen, because we are all human. In every darkness, there's the little light. And I feel like a little light can always, shut away a lot of darkness. And people to stay hopeful and keep dreaming and believe in their artistry and believe in their craft. And just stay steadfast in who they are. But at the same time, just like when you get to watch the documentary, we also have to be conscious with our environment and where we are. Because here in America, we can be who we want to be, and there's you can find your tribe, you can find your family, your extended family, you can create your extended family. It's not like that around the world. So while we want to express ourselves and be who we are, we also have to be very conscious of where we are, so we don't endanger ourselves and the people who are around us. But keep the hope alive, and everything, there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you. That's
good words. Thank you so much. Well, we are really privileged to partner with you, and so glad we get to meet you in person and see the film, and maybe a little schmoozing at the gala, the reception tomorrow as well.
Tony, you're wearing your best thread.
I'm trying. I'm already feeling pressure, so I will have something. So thank you so much for anybody who sees this in the next 24 hours. The ticket links are all in the comments below on Facebook and on YouTube. It's on Eventbrite, so make sure you go check it out. So we are starting March 31st. Thursday evening with a screening and a gala. So go check that out. And then the following day, you are going to be able to go to a concert with BeBe live at the, and I'm blanking, not the Orpheum. What is it?
Oasis.
The Oasis. So those ticket links are all there. The Oasis tickets, the Roxy tickets. Do not miss this event. This is premiere in San Francisco, and Wavemaker is really stoked to partner with Mark and 13th Gen. Thank you, Mark, for inviting us to partner with you. We are really grateful.
What I can say to your audience is that we screened our film at Outfest in Los Angeles last August, and that was an amazing event. And we kind of piloted BeBe being in concert there, all on the same night, right? So it was like 45 minutes of music and then the movie afterwards. And it just kind of hit me. I'm like, let's do it in San Francisco, but let's do it over 2 nights. On the first night, you experience a documentary, and you get to meet the artists, right, and get to see their journey in the form of a documentary. And then the next night, you get to be with the artists and watch them perform live. So the concert at Oasis is really that. It's really a concert. BeBe's performing with a band of 6. So come on down.
Amazing.
Put your dancing shoes on, because you are going to be so surprised, so delighted, and you are going to want to shake your ass. Right.
Tony, Tony, just saying. Okay.
I'll be shaking it. I'm going to shake it tomorrow. I don't care. I'm shaking something tomorrow.
However you do that.
Okay.
Whatever that takes.
I know Christina is going to come through. Christina,
yes, I will be there. Come party with us. I'll be there both days. You can't get rid of me.
That's right. We have a Wavemaker entourage coming. Well, will you stay with us for the last few minutes and do our Brave Faves? This is where we share one thing that is our favorite thing of the week. All right, stand by. One thing.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
And my brave fave is from the 94th Academy Award speech of Ariana DeBose. My goodness, the first openly queer woman of color giving that acceptance speech gave me so much life. That is my first brave fave for today. And my second is, of course, Face by Miss BeBe Zahara Benet. If you have not rocked out to this song, you have to rock out to it. It is so good. It's so fun. And you can get ready for this live show this Friday. I will be there. You got to come party with us. We will be there. We're going to have a ball.
All right.
Yes. And check out the video. Oh my gosh. So much love, so much joy.
So much good stuff. So while you're watching the premiere, you might want to sneak in my brave fave of the week, which are almond butter filled pretzels from Trader Joe's. I'm simple today. That's my favorite thing of the week. I ate a whole bag during the Oscars. So my family had a huge party, and I spent $100 and some at Trader Joe's, and that was the best thing. The almond butter filled pretzels. That's my favorite thing of the week. What do you two have? BB, Mark, what do you got? Favorite thing of the week?
Okay, this sounds very cliche, but my favorite thing of the week is actually being here in San Francisco. I don't think that because I'm here. I'm so excited that I get to be here and get to meet amazing people, amazing energy, amazing people who are working with the movie, working with the music. My creative director is here. My creative team is here. It's almost like a family reunion that's happening here. And I am so super stoked to bring some fire, honey. Kitty Girl is in the city, honey. So I'm very excited to be here. That's the big one for me. I love it.
Yes, we love that you're here.
We do, Christina. And so I would just say, this is my favorite thing of the week, right? Having BeBe here in San Francisco, this has been something I've been wanting to have happen for a long time. So I am delighted. But this is kind of like capping off two things I've done. So last weekend, I actually went to Mississippi, to Oxford, Mississippi, to the Oxford Film Festival, and I joined Emily where we showed our film there. So we brought our beautiful Black, queer, drag artistry film to Mississippi. And that was huge, showing it there and connecting with the filmmakers there, the audiences there.
That's huge.
So from Mississippi last Saturday to San Francisco this Thursday, it doesn't get more interesting and bookending than that.
Yes.
But we really have to go where the audiences are. We have to cultivate the audiences. We have to support them to see themselves where they live, where they work. And that was a wonderful experience for me this last week. So, and lots of folks who live and work and make art there are very brave. So there you have it.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Well, we are so grateful you have been here with us today. And you're speaking to the values that Brave Maker has. We believe Brave Maker exists to elevate brave stories for justice, diversity, and inclusion, to make people feel seen, to help people feel empowered to tell their story too. So thank you so much for being with us. Stand by just for 2 minutes. We'd love to have one final thing with you, but we want to say thank you to all the viewers watching. Thank you to the partners, 13th Gen and the Roxy Theater, Rainbow Railroad, that is also supporting this film. And thank you to BeBe and Mark for sharing today. We want to encourage you that as we are a nonprofit film festival that depends on all of your support and generous donations to support artists like BeBe, to share their films, to comment on their Instagrams, to share on your social media things that are happening. We are so excited for all the work that's happening, especially as doors are opening in theaters and we're having more and more in-person things. We cannot be more excited to do this work with filmmakers and with actors, people in front of the camera and behind the camera. So thank you to everybody who supports Brave Maker as a nonprofit. We just can't do this work without you. And Christina, who else do we need to thank?
We need to thank our amazing team behind the scenes. We cannot do the show without you all. We love you. Amy Cohen, our live show producer from Austin, Texas. Carrie Alley, our social media manager out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Also in Grand Rapids, Barnell Amos, our podcast editor. Emerson Morley from San Francisco area, our Brave Maker intern. And of course, Sarah Agolia, a new Brave Maker crew, a film student out of Chicago. We love you guys. Can't do the show without you. So thank you so much.
And Jessica Musgrave was our live quoter today. So thank you, Jessica, for producing.
Thank you, Jessica.
The quotes, all the things that these two said were underneath because Jessica was making that happen. So we're grateful. All right. So you two, we will see you tomorrow, and everybody else coming to the Roxy in San Francisco. Yeah, this is
gonna be a party. It's
gonna be a party. The frame here, okay?
Okay,
This is so good. Well, if you're watching on the replay or are listening on the audio version, please share this with a friend. Rate, like, subscribe. This is so cool that we could do this stuff. Can't say it enough. We're so grateful. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, BeBe. We always end the show by saying brave stories change the world.
And you are the story. Bye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BRAVEMAKER to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.